Hey, very good evening, everyone. Welcome to the masterclass. Today's session, I have great privilege in welcoming Ra Ma Palaniappan to this program as a guest speaker. So, I would like to know before we begin the session, your name and which city you're from. Just put down in the chat box, hey, your name and which city you're from, guys. So, we'll like to see who all are here. Just type down your name and which city. So welcome Kavin, Ramesh, Chandan, Madhusudan, Murdish. Okay, the chat box is going really fast, guys. Manoj, Vijay, Sudish, Anand, Venkatraman, Lakshmi Srinivasan, Suri, Shankar, Ramachandra, Yanesh, Shailendra, Jagan. Hey, we have participants who are not only from Tamil Nadu, we have also a lot of participants pan India who are participating here. So great to see you all here, enthusiastic on a Sunday evening. You chose to invest in yourself in the next 1 hour to learn about managing your finances. Great to see this, guys. So let me get straight away into the session. What exactly which we are going to look at covering. So I have Palaniappan, who is, let me just introduce Ra Ma Palaniappan, who's the author of the book called Zero EMI, Unlock Your Financial Freedom. So what has happened is that I happened to hear Palaniappan through one of the common forums called the PSAI, which is the Professional Speakers Association of India. And Palaniappan is one of the founding members of this association, an association of the Global Speakers Federation. He has more than 15 years of industry experience. He started his career as a banker and then later on moved in as an IT program manager. He holds an MBA in international business. So what has happened is that something made him write this book, and currently he is helping thousands of people to get out of debt, build wealth, and looking at reaching financial freedom by starting with a debt-free life. So Palaniappan is also a powerful speaker, and he's been inspired many professionals through his speaking assignments. He has been awarded the Distinguished Toastmaster, one of the higher pinnacle award in Toastmasters International, a public speaking forum. So let's have a virtual clap. So you can just type a clap in the chat box so that we will welcome him to the podium. Hey, that's welcome Palaniappan. You can see a lot of enthusiastic audience out here. So hey, congratulations. So thank you so much, guys. So over to Palaniappan. Welcome here.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ravi, and thank you everyone for this wonderful welcome. Thank you so much.
Yes. So first, I would like to have a question like, hey, is this your Ra Ma Palaniappan? Is this your pen name or your real name? Can you tell something about that?
Of course, absolutely, Ravi. Many people thinks that Rama is my name and Palaniappan is my second name. So people used to address me like Rama, and I am working in an MNC company, and people used to address me as Palaniappan and all of that. So it's really very tongue twister name, I would say. My actual name is R.M. Palaniappan. This is not my pen name, but my name is R.M. Palaniappan. Then my father actually have some belief in numerology, so he went to a lot of people to know the fortune, a good fortune of mine, and so someone suggested him to add few letters into my name. So we tried a lot of combinations. I think my father ended up adding 2 A's here and there, and so R.M. Palaniappan became Ra Ma Palaniappan. I also like my name very much. As Dale Carnegie said, name is the beautiest music to ears. So I like my name very much, and so I continue with Ra Ma Palaniappan. As I wrote a book, and people started thinking that is my pen name. Actually, it is not a pen name. That is my actual name.
Okay. So I would like to understand, like you were starting your career in banking, right?
Yeah.
And what made you to write this book called Zero EMI? What was that situation which, hey, from being an employee, you started to think something beyond? Because writing a book is not everyone's dream or something. What inspired you to get this?
It did not happen overnight. I never thought I'll write a book in the wildest of my dreams. I started my career with the bank, ICICI Bank, and then I moved to ABN AMRO Bank, and then I worked for Standard Chartered Bank. I spent quite a few number of years in working in the banking industry, handling money. I was a core banker, and I've been a cashier. I've been in the check clearance department. I've been in the front-facing, customer-facing departments. So I've done almost all the roles in the bank in my 7-8 years of banking career. And then I got a chance to enroll myself into a master's program, MBA in international business. That's when I met a lot of people across the industry. And one such friend is Winfred. He worked for Verizon at the time, and he offered me a position there, so that I happened to join Verizon. And from when I joined Verizon, I found there is a forum called Toastmasters International, which is actually a public speaking forum. If you do not know, or if any of your audience do not know what is Toastmasters International, then it is a public speaking forum. It helps people to improve their public speaking skills and also the leadership skills. So I joined Toastmasters because I'm very much interested in public speaking. That is how it all started. As a public speaker, I used to write all my scripts word by word, and then go and deliver my speeches. That is how it all started. It started with a 4-minute speech when I was working with Verizon. From a banker to an IT professional, and then becoming a public speaker, the transition happened very gradually. I wrote a lot of scripts for my speeches. The speeches were around various topics like communication, time management, and whatnot. So those are the projects that we actually underwent in Toastmasters. As and when I started giving speeches, I also started writing the scripts. So seeing that, my friends, my mentors, and also my wife, in fact, said, I have something in writing. I'm good at writing. So that is when I thought, okay, I should move from speaking to writing, or at least give some more weightage to writing. So I started writing all my contents. Then I moved to speaking about finance. While I was speaking on various topics like communication, leadership, and all of that, then over a period of time, I narrowed down my speech topic to finance, personal finance, because from my banking background and also with my interest towards handling money, I thought finance is a good area for me to speak, so that I can use my expertise and give that knowledge, share that knowledge with a lot of people. So I started giving a lot of speeches in finance, and I wrote down my scripts, like what I did for a 4-minute speech, I did for 45-minute speech also. Whenever I gave a keynote speech, I wrote down the script word by word. So I had a lot of content with me. Then I compiled everything together, and then I thought we'll put it as a book, because many of my fellow speakers are also authors. Their books are doing really good. I was wondering, why do we actually share the same content that we speak as a book? Is it not a redundant one? But a different thought process came from my fellow speakers. They said, the speeches that you are giving are being attended by a set of audience. But those who could not attend the speech sessions may be able to read your book, so that there are chances of your content, your message reaching to newer audience, a larger audience. So that is why having a book is very essential. So then I thought that's a good idea. Then I went ahead and published this book called Zero EMI. And then this book is really reaching out to newer audience, to many people, as I liked, and I'm so glad about it.
Okay, so can you share like your real life experience? Like, I think, is there any your personal experience which made you like your transformation from a person who was having debt or EMIs? Uh, are you sharing this experience? Like, can you share your life experience on this?
Of course, I was actually studying in 8th grade sometime. At the time, my family were living in a nice apartment. At the time, I never knew what that is. We were living in a new apartment. I had a lot of friends. I used to go down and play cricket all the time. I'm also a cricket team captain. Then the cricket team properties, everything like ball, stamps, everything would be in my home under my custody. No one could even touch them with my permission. Uh, at that time, actually, my father quitted his job, and then he joined. He did not join. Sorry, actually, he started a business, a printing business. He faced a lot of hardships to develop the business. So the income from the business was only enough to pay the rent, salary, electricity. So basically, the operational cost is what he was able to meet. To run the family and the business, to reinvest in the business, my father started taking loans. That is when we got introduced to loans. Within 1 year, my entire family landed into a huge financial crisis. Debts piled up like a mountain. Taking one loan to repay another, or closing one loan and starting a new loan, became a routine. We had unsolicited visitors every day to our home asking for the dues. Everything around me started changing: my school, my books, my friends, my house, everything. One thing that remained constant was debt. We moved to a new house because we couldn't afford to pay the rent of the current one. I did not get any new friends around my new house, so I did not like it. I got into a new school where I did not like going because I was still attached to my old school. Remember, I was only in 8th grade. So I'm still so attached, emotionally attached to the old school. But what had hurt me the most was giving back the cricket team's properties. I wept and cried as if the whole world was gone. It looks like it just happened yesterday. No one was able to console me. The entire family spent sleepless nights because of the debts. 10 years later, we were able to pay off our debts. And it was a big relief for us. No more visitors asking for money, and no more phone calls asking for dues. A breeze that I enjoyed thoroughly. After being debt free, I started feeling like independent. However, I have spent the prime time of my life, of my career, thinking about the debt. Those 10 years was tough time. Only after those tough 10 long years, I was able to dream of financial freedom. I was able to determine my financial goals. Since then, I have been practicing debt-free life. And I'm also talking about the same, advocating the same, in fact, to others. I think it makes a lot of sense for me. I have walked the path that was full of debts and can tell you how horrible it was. I do not want anyone to take that route, undergo the sufferings, and then start from scratch. I know a lot of people are under debt. So I thought my experience and the way that I used to come out of debt will be of some use to others. I do not want others to spend their prime time or of their career, of their life, working to repay loans. So I don't want others to lose the precious years. I want them to enjoy financial freedom and possess the ability to make choices at their will. Financially, everyone should be stress-free. That is what actually pushed me to share my experience about handling debt, being a debt person, and then becoming a debt-free person.
Okay, so it was like a childhood incident or a series of incident where your family had undergone that pain, which really made you to look at, hey, I do not want to look at being in the same situation in future. So let's look at this, because you've touched on a very, very sensitive topic. Because today we are in a society where living in an EMI, living in debt is the accepted norm. So I'll just do a poll right now, because we wanted to figure out, hey, what is your level of debt? So I want each one of you guys who are there to participate and just answer how much of EMI, like you could be a salaried person, you could be a person who is self-employed, but I just wanted you to figure out what is your level of EMI, because let's you have someone who has been in this and who has actually had a solution to come out of debt and is living a debt-free life. He's also sharing this knowledge with a lot of other people. So let's look at this, guys. So we have almost like 80 of you guys who are participating. Just give an honest answer. It's an anonymous poll. No one is going to come and ask you. So let's look at this. So we have, maybe I'll just wait for another 10 seconds for everyone to participate. So let's look at this answer, and it will give you an idea about what is the situation. So what is happening? Yeah, I'm just closing the poll right now, and let's look at this. So we have just 13% of the audience out here. Out of more than 175 people, only 13%, 15 people are not having a debt. Rest of us, we are in a situation where we are somewhere having some sort of an EMI. It could be a home loan, it could be a personal loan, it should be credit carded. I do not know what it is, but we are in debt. So what I would request is, like, if you're from listening to this and you have any specific questions to the speaker, Palaniappan, you can post it in the chat box, or you can also ask in the Q&A section, so that we will take it one by one. So in case you would like to have a discussion on this, we will also look at, hey, if you have any specific situation you want to know how one can look at coming out of debt, we are also going to discuss this in this session right now. So let's look at, thank you all for answering this poll, guys. So it really helps. And let's take this another. I wanted to ask you another situation, because you work in an IT industry, and I started to look at seeing how my parents were, and I found that earlier generation that we took a loan probably to buy a home. That was the only thing. Probably another thing was, like, maybe if someone is looking at buying a vehicle, those are the two things people generally looked at a loan. Otherwise, what happens is, like, there is not much of requirement for a loan in my the way which I'm seeing my parents. But today's generation, what is happening is that people are taking a loan for a vacation. People are saying, hey, you buy say shopping on Diwali, you can break down into 6 EMIs. You want to spend something, buy a mobile phone, that is on an EMI. So what is the trend are you able to see, especially living in the IT industry? What is the scenario do you see? Can you share this, your observation on this?
Sure, Ravi. That's a wonderful question. Before even answering your question, right, I saw the poll results. So thank you everyone for active participation. And that's very insightful, right? You know, at least 8% of the people have said, as you rightly pointed out, 13% of the people said they're living in zero EMI. Congratulations to them. And 8% of the people said they have more than 100% of their salary going towards EMI. I have seen many people in such situation. At least, you know, they are managing debt 200%, 250% of the salary. You know, the inflow is only 100%. You know, for example, the inflow is only 20,000 rupees. They may have a debt of you know, 45,000 rupees, almost 200, 250% of debt that they were managing. That's a very pathetic situation. They're definitely in a debt trap. Definitely need some help to come out of the debt. And I see some lot of interesting questions coming in the chat as well. Ravi, I hope you know you'll be compiling and asking me, or you'll be picking some out of the lot. Coming back to your question, generations later now, I'm seeing this generation, means the millennials, they actually are not interested in spending any money on assets. They are not ready to spend money on real estate. But the previous generations, you know, they were actually building assets. They were buying houses. They were actually, you know, as you said, you know, there are some automobile loans. And automobile loans are still popular. You know, car loans are still popular. But the choice of buying houses have changed now. People are ready to invest in experiences. They are ready to invest in gadgets. Those are the two things that, you know, people are trending towards, is what I could see. Now, from building assets to building experiences, you know, creating memories. They want to go to various locations around the world. They want to see around the world, have the travel experience. Also, they want to buy gadgets. You know, they want to invest in their laptops, in their mobile phones, in smart televisions. You know, I personally know a friend who have purchased a 3 lakh worth television for his house. So all of these trends in spending is something I could see. So this consumerism is getting built up.
Okay. So there is some questions coming up. So let's take in. I just noted one or two questions. So Sri Reddy is asking, how do I handle EMIs? Like, do you have a repayment plan, or do you think like when should one look at borrowing? Is there should one borrow in life, or how is it? What is your perspective on this?
Absolutely, it's a very good question. When I'm coming and saying, hey, lead a debt-free life, zero EMI is a bliss and all of that. People may be wondering, how come someone lead a life without buying a loan? So, for example, I want to buy a house. If I want to buy a house, it is actually lakhs and lakhs of rupees. Middle class or upper middle class are even not able to buy it with their own savings. So, should I not take a loan? Then how do I buy that house? That is where I think people should understand the difference between good debt and a bad debt. Now, one important factor that people should consider while taking a loan is whether it is a good debt or bad debt. What is a good debt and what is a bad debt? If you borrow money for any item that grows in value, then that is good debt. Like housing loan, like educational loan, or any business loan. All of these loans you're taking to invest in something else, so that it is going to grow in value in future. So that is a good debt. People can always take loans to build those assets. But only thing is, you have to try and come out of the debt as soon as possible. Whether by making some extra repayments, you call it as a prepayment, and see how you can actually knock off your EMIs quickly and come out of it, so that you save a huge portion of your interest outflow. That is very important. No, it's not that you have taken a loan for 20 years or for 10 years, then you serve the entire 10 years period. It should not be the case. You should try to close the loan as early as possible. Take a good debt, but close it as early as possible. But don't ever take a bad debt. So what is bad debt? Bad debt is is a debt which actually been taken for items which decreases in value. For example, if you want to buy an iPhone, then if you're taking a loan, then it's a bad debt. Now, if I buy an iPhone and tomorrow I go and sell it, I'll not be able to sell it for the same price. You all know that. Car loans, you should not ever take a loan to buy a car. When I say this, people are so surprised, because car loan is a very popular loan and everybody has a car nowadays. And why should not take a loan to buy a car? Your car will actually depreciate. If you buy a car today and after 1 or 2 months, if you go and sell it, try to sell it, you'll not get the same amount back. Now, I know one of my friends who has actually bought a second-hand car while he was learning to drive for 50,000 rupees. That was a Maruti 800 second-hand car. And then he drove it for some time, and then for 1.5 years. And then once he became well-versed in driving, by the time he also accumulated some money, saved some money. And then he went again and upgraded his car with his own money. That is how one should, you should plan it in advance, have a goal in mind, and then save some money so that you avoid these kind of bad debts. That is very important. If you get into a bad debt, then you will get into a debt trap. So you can take a loan, but consider the factor whether it's a good loan or a bad loan.
Okay. So thank you for sharing that. There is also some questions here. Like, let us take someone due to a health emergency in the family. They have some serious condition, like someone needs money for a health reason. They end up borrowing money and they get into a debt. So what do you think are the steps for such a situation? It's an unavoidable thing. And how does one, if they got into debt, some reason they borrowed money, maybe a personal loan or something, what should a person do to be debt free? If currently assuming they are having a debt and they are not able to look at meeting these obligations, what do you think are the strategies do you suggest in these situations?
Absolutely, that's a good question. To many of my friends, I have asked this question: hey, why do you take loans? Time and again, I get this answer saying, hey, I take loan for emergency purposes, to meet medical expenses. So what kind of emergency it is? Medical expenses is I can understand. Other than medical expenses, they always say there's an emergency. I have to pay a school fees. I have to pay something else, which came all of a sudden. Actually, other than these accidents, nothing comes all of a sudden. If you plan it properly, you can actually tackle it. Planning is the only strategy. You should have an insurance in place, a health insurance. Many of the employers are, if you're working, then many of the employers are already giving you insurance. But I would suggest you should also have one insurance personally to take care of your medical expenses, because by the time you stop your employment with that employer, that insurance also comes to an end. So it's very important for you to take a health insurance. It's important to enter at the early age so that the premium is less. As you grow old, the premium is also growing, is also going to grow big. So that you should take the insurance much early in your life. Medical insurance will help you big time in meeting your medical expenses. If you do not have enough coverage for meeting your medical expenses, then always you can have an emergency fund. But all of these cannot happen after you meet or after the event happens. All of this should happen much in advance. So planning is the only strategy that will help you in times of emergency. Building an emergency fund is very essential. I would say, at least for 6 months of income, 6 months of expenses should be parked as an emergency fund, and you should not touch it at any point of time. You should park it in a place where you can easily retrieve and use it, so that at times of emergency, that emergency fund can be of a big help to you. A combination of medical insurance and an emergency fund will help you to come out of such situations and will avoid you to take loans.
Okay. So that was your aspect, like planning is very much essential. So what about cases like, say we are having a situation where people have already borrowed money, and we are in a situation where there has been in the Q&A, like a couple of instances where people have more than 70% of their earnings are going into EMIs. So what should the person do? His income he's not able to save money out of that income. His salary is getting stagnation. What do you think if someone is in that situation where they are finding that income is not growing, but they have huge financial liabilities? What should that person do? What he needs to do so that he can come out of the debt faster?
So I assume that the person has saved 70% of the salary going out as EMI, and he is surviving with 30%, right? Just for an example purpose, I am assuming that. So two things a person can do always. One is to increase the income. Right? Look at the possibilities to increase the income within the current capacity, within the current organization, or with the current business that the person is doing, he or she is doing. There are multiple ways to optimize your performance at workplace and really get rewarded in terms of awards, or in terms of salary increase, or in terms of promotion. All of that are possible if you're focused and you're able to give your 100% towards work. That is one which will help you to increase your income. Shifting jobs will also help you to increase your income. You can always look for other jobs wherein you can get a better pay scale, so that you get some extra buffer money for your essential expenses. When you have only 30% left for your essential expenses and 70% is going towards your loans, you can increase that 30% to some extent by shifting some jobs. That is one. And also you can look at ways to create some passive incomes. For example, I'm working for an organization called PayPal, and I also have written a book. As and when a book is being sold, I get a royalty. It's not a huge amount, but I get a small amount of royalty. So every month, there is a good amount that I'm getting as a royalty, because my book is being sold, and a lot of copies are being sold every month. And then I also go and give speeches at various places, being invited as a guest speaker, as a keynote speaker, and I charge them a fee. So that is also another income. That is not a passive income. That is an active income. Of course, I have to go and spend my time and energy to earn that money. But that is outside of my employment that I am able to get that money. Selling books is definitely a passive income that I was able to build. And there are cases wherein I know people who have some inherited property, wherein they build some commercial places, leave it for rent, and then rent is another passive income, right? So you can earn that as well. On the other hand, you can also look at ways to decrease your expenses. During the lockdown period, 2 years of COVID, and we all know what are essential, what is non-essential, right? We lived with minimal items, right? We all become minimalist. We know what is essential, what is non-essential. All our dining outs, movies, all of that have come down drastically, right? And we had no choice to go out and eat, and we had no choice to go and watch movies. So these kind of expenses you can always try to curtail, and that will also help you to have more money in hand. So one is increase your income. Look at ways for developing some passive income streams, and on the other hand, try to decrease your expenses. So these are the two things that you can do to actually have enough money in hand. So now coming to the 70% of EMI that you're paying, right? I was talking only about the 30%. Now how to actually increase that 30%, play around it. Now coming to the 70% that you're already paying out, you have to look at ways to actually reduce that 70%. How you can do that? And you can go and check with your bank if they can reduce the rate of interest. Or if you already entered into a housing loan, which is actually a floating rate, then periodically the banks are actually reducing the interest. Now it's actually going up, but there are times when the interest rates have been revised. There are times when interest rates have been reduced as well. So you have to do a periodical check with your banker, your loan provider, to see if your interest rate is been reduced. So if that is the case, then you can ask them to rewrite it so that your EMI outflow, or the number of years that you're going to pay the loan is going to get reduced. That is one possibility. Or if it is not even able to manage, then there are a lot of options like restructuring and debt consolidation, which I'll talk in detail a little later.
Okay. So that was the key message for all those who are looking at having a debt which is slightly on the higher side, which is more than what you can look at managing currently. The focus what Palaniappan is starting here is that, hey, focus on increasing your income. Do not just think that, hey, one way, like I can only earn from a salary. Do not limit yourself to one stream of income. Rather, look at how you can explore other areas, like how he has looked at writing a book, how he has looked at developing speeches. So even when you are in a job, you could look at exploring opportunities which you can start to earn extra income. The second way is to manage your expenses. But I would say the first way is like, because there is no limit to that income which you can increase. Okay, there is another question. This is from the Q&A. AK, I couldn't get your full name, because what is happening currently is that there is also a situation where people want to make an investment. Say they already have a home which they are living, but for the sake of investment, they end up borrowing money in terms of real estate, and in the way of creating an asset, they end up buying a huge home loan which they are unable to manage. What do you think on this situation, where should one look at stretching oneself, getting into debt in order to try to create assets, or should one look at investing the surplus in some other way? What is your thing? Because a lot of times what you've seen, especially in the last 10 years, real estate has been more or less stagnant across many parts of the country. So what is your opinion? Because there has been trends where people want to buy another home as an investment, because we have been taught right from our early days that, hey, home is an investment. What is your view on that?
Absolutely. Home is not only an investment, but also an emotion. So it gives you a social status. When it comes to first house, let's talk about the second house a little later. When it comes to first house, it's an emotion, it's a social status. It gives you recognition among your relatives, your friends, and the way people look at you actually changes. I have personally experienced this. Most of the things I'm talking out of my experience. Buying a house changes the outlook of yourself, so that people started looking at you a little differently. That gives you a lot of status. Now, one is I'm buying a house and getting a housing loan. So I have to look at ways to how to quickly repay them and come out of the debt. And second, my income increased, or for some reason, I'm planning to buy another house. I haven't not bought second house, but I'm just saying, in your example, you said, someone is trying to buy a second house. when I'm going to buy a second house, I have to consider various factors, or at least I should have a goal towards that investment. The second house is definitely an investment. First house is for me to live, or if I already have a house, my father have a house, I'm living there, then that first house is also an investment for me. I'm going to get rent. I'm going to let it out and get rent out of it. If I am going to buy second house in my name, then I should be very clear about why I am buying that. What is my goal? If my goal is to earn some rental income, I would say your investment, your rental income will not beat your investment anyways when it comes to real estate, right? Your rental incomes are very low. If you are building a commercial property, then the case is little different, right? The maintenance is very less and the commercial property rents are little higher, so that you may be able to break even at some point of time. So let's keep that aside. Now, coming to second house, if you don't have a clear purpose of why you're going to buy that second loan, I would say, you should avoid doing that, because many times I've seen people finding it difficult to manage both the houses. At times, there are houses that have been locked for months together just because there's no new tenant to come and occupy the house. So there are a lot of practical difficulties that one is undergoing. So if you want to really look at an investment vehicle, there are a lot of investment instruments, luckily, that we have. Share market is one good instrument that you can actually invest. There are mutual funds. There are many other things that people can actually invest. And again, these investment things are dependent on a person's age and also the goals and how much surplus they have in hand. And there are various factors that we have to take into consideration before even suggesting anything on investment. One size doesn't fit all. And Ravi, I know you're doing a fabulous job in recommending your clients about what fits them. So in my case now, what I would say is, in my expertise, I would say buying a second house should have a clear goal. Otherwise, you should not go for it.
Okay. So it is necessary to have a clear goal. Hey, whether I will be able to look at repaying it, and whether it would be adding stress or whether it is giving me a comfort. Okay, so there is also a few questions. Kamlesh Mehta is asking, these days, 0%, zero interest EMI, especially if you buy on online shopping, which we do. A lot of these schemes are very popular, right from electronic gadgets to almost probably everything. We can look at the 0% zero interest EMI. So what do you think? Like, is it really 0% interest, or how do you feel? Like, should one go for it, or what are the disadvantages, or in your observation here?
No, that's a good question. Many people nowadays buy things online or offline, and go to a store and buy, or do it in online, and then they pay it in zero EMI and say, hey, I cannot pay the full amount to buy an iPhone now, so I'll buy in zero EMI because there is no interest. That is what their perception is. But sorry to say, that is a very false perception, because the main business of banks or any other financial institution which is giving you loans, for them is to earn interest. Interest is their bread and butter. Do you think they will forego their income? They will not. And how do these schemes really work? The interest cost is in some way passed on to the customers, either in the form of a processing fee, that may be a very small amount, but another processing fee, or in form of denying offers. If I have cash and go and buy, I may have a better bargaining power in terms of versus buying it in zero EMI. So I'm losing that. There are times wherein offers are also being denied when you buy in zero EMI. Discounts are denied, or there are chances of increased cost price. That is how they actually pass on the burden to the customer. The interest is already loaded in the cost price, and then they divide it into equal installments and say we are giving it in zero EMI. Right? By the way, I also want to tell that 0% EMI was banned by Reserve Bank of India in 2013. In its circular dated September 17, 2013, it stated that the very concept of 0% is non-existent. So please be aware of all of these things and don't fall a prey to these bad loans. That is why I think the entire market changed from zero EMI to no cost EMI. So they're trying to play around with the terms, but also nowadays the buy now pay later is picking up a lot. Wherever you go, every e-commerce platform is offering the buy now, pay later. I would suggest save now and buy later. Right? Rather than buy now and pay later, you should actually save now and buy later. Yeah.
Okay, so that is a great, interesting thing which you said. Like instead of buy now and pay later, it is like save now and buy later. That's a great mantra. So there's another question. See, I would like to relate this because I worked in the credit card industry. I worked for Citibank early part of 2000s. And I could see that 2000 till 2007, that was the time when credit cards were issued at mass across India. Like everyone was flashing this credit card, and it was so much of, I would say, like a great joy to get your first credit card. And what happened was like a lot of people got into a credit card debt. They borrowed money. And what do you suggest? Should one use a credit card, or what are the rules of using this? Do you have any inputs on this?
Absolutely. Credit card is actually a double-edged sword. You should handle it very carefully, right? Like a knife, you can use to cut apples, or also you can use to cut fingers. That is how I see credit cards as. Many of my friends, in fact, have argued with me that credit card is a wonderful instrument wherein they get a lot of reward points. There are cashback offers when I use a particular bank's credit card. So it's very convenient for them, pay through credit card so that they're able to see the accounts, they're able to see the expenses that are making that coming in the statement, and they can pay it off. All of them are good until you have control towards your income and towards your expenses. In COVID times, we have seen that nothing is in our control. Right? A lot of things are not in our control. So we should be prepared for the unprepared situations. Credit cards may lead you to danger if you start playing with harder. But still, my friends used to argue that they have to use credit card for emergency purposes and all of that. As I told, for emergency purposes, one should be prepared well. One should plan well so that they can build emergency funds and all of that. If in case you don't have emergency fund, or you're building an emergency fund, by the time a critical expense came and you have to meet, and people rely on credit cards. So credit card is one backup option that everybody has in mind. So if anything happens, I can use my credit card. Well, if those are the situations and there is no option for you to use credit card, you can use credit card. But always I would suggest you should have certain rules in mind to use credit cards. Number one is you should always pay your money, the entire amount in full. Don't make any part payments. The credit card companies allow you to make a part payment that is called as minimum amount due. Don't ever do that, because it is a mad thing to do, because they themselves call it as a mad thing. Minimum amount due, MAD, it's a mad thing. So don't do that. And then second thing is, what happens when you pay the minimum amount due? Then for the remaining amount, they charge you fees, late fees, penalty, and all of that. Right? It accounts to almost 48% per annum. That is very costly. So don't do that. Always pay your dues in full, number one. Number two, keep track of your credit card expenses. You have to write down your credit card expense or record it somewhere in an app or a notebook, so that when the bill comes, you can cross check. Three, once you receive the monthly statements, read those statements carefully. There are chances of errors, not an intentional one, but there might be chances of errors. So we have to do our due diligence to check the statements carefully, bash it with your expenses that you're tracking, and find out if there are any errors. If there are any errors, you can report it and then get back your money. That is number three. Number four, do not ever withdraw cash from your credit card. When I tell this to people, they are surprised because if you withdraw cash from credit card, interest is charged from day one. If you use credit card for any purchases, online or offline, if you go to your shop, use your credit card, then you have time to pay that money until your bill gets generated. Only when the bill is submitted to you, there will be a due date mentioned in the bill, for which on which you have to make the payment. Wherein for cash transactions, there is nothing like that. From day one, they will start charging your charging interest. Many people do not know that. And whatever money that you're paying, right, the cash withdrawal will also be included in the monthly statement. But the payments that you're making will be first deducted against your cash withdrawals, and only the remaining amount will be taken to the other purchases. So one should be very careful by not using your credit card to withdraw cash. That is number 4. Number 5 is do not take another loan to repay your credit card loan. Credit card loan is itself expensive. Then if you're taking another loan to repay your credit card loan, you're only shifting the loan from one place to another. You're not actually getting rid of the loan. So always be mindful of that. Don't take a loan. So let me quickly call out these 5 points, right? Always pay the dues in full, number 1. Number 2 is keep track of your credit card expenses. Number 3 is read the monthly expense statements carefully. Number 4, do not withdraw cash from your credit card. And 5, do not take another loan to repay your credit card loan. So these are the 5 rules that one must keep in mind if you think there is no other option other than using credit card.
Okay. So yes, so we were discussing on the credit card, and let's look at some other questions over here. So there has been a lot of questions. We are just having many questions related to investing. So, but we have to remember we stick on to the topic. So let's look at. There's been a couple of questions. Okay, this one is very interesting. It's like, hey, do you have anything which you can suggest you can teach your kids on managing money? What are your inputs on that?
That's a great question, actually. I learned finance, or I learned money management by trial and error method, right? Of course, many of us would have learned the same way. Or otherwise, the best thing that we would have done is we would have gone to our father or uncles, aunties to get advice. There's no formal education on financial management or money management in Indian schools and colleges. That is where people like me are trying to actually pass on that knowledge, share that knowledge to everyone. Kids is one niche area wherein I personally have done a lot of workshops for kids. I have a separate workshop for financial literacy for kids, wherein I tell them about money, what is money, what are the different currencies, how one can save money, how people should spend money, how do you identify needs and wants, and many saving habits and easy ways of handling money, and all of that is something I cover as part of kids workshop. I have done many workshops, and I have also done webinars talking to kids, a group of kids, and they are amazing, actually. They come up with a lot of wonderful questions, which surprised me many a times, and I have thoroughly enjoyed talking to them. So financial planning is a must, and one should start at the early age, right? Very popular investors, you would have seen them saying, hey, I started investing at the age of 11, at the age of 9, and all of that, right? I think at the age of 9, people should start learning about money. My daughter is 8 years old, and I already started talking to her about money. And it's very important, I think, one should have those skills to handle money properly. Otherwise, you start earning money without having proper knowledge. What will happen? Just imagine, you don't know to drive a two-wheeler, or you don't know to drive a car. Will you go and buy a car or a two-wheeler? No, right? You will actually acquire those skills. You learn driving. You go to a driving school for car, then you get a license, and then only you go and buy a car, right? But when it comes to money, we take it little light. We start earning money first and then learn. That should not be the case, right? So a lot of accidents happens, which means a lot of errors happens. You lose your precious early years in mismanagement. So to avoid all of that, I think it's important to imbibe the good money habits in the minds of young kids.
Okay, so this is a question like, yes, so I hope you got your answer, Anantarao. So I also would like to share one specific activity which I learned when I was a child. Like my mother used to give me a piggy bank, and I started to look at maybe when I was studying LKG at the time. I got the first piggy bank, And I still remember the joy of filling that piggy bank with coins. So I remember that this is something which any parent can teach. A very simple activity, even just like buying a piggy bank and asking to deposit maybe a 5 rupee coin every single day. You create a habit. So these are some good aspects of teaching your children right from a very early age. So this is about question by Anantara. And one more question I'm able to find is like I'm earning a good salary, but end of the month I find that my bank balance is everything is spent. I have no clue what is happening. Can you tell me what to do?
That's the case for many people, right? We are living in a digital era, and we can do a lot of things at our fingertips, but still we do not know where our money goes, right? Earlier we used to receive money in cash, we touch and feel. Now it's all notional. We receive money digitally, and everything goes off digitally. So one important habit that I imbibed from my father in my early 20s was writing down my expenses. So I have noticed him every day before going to bed. He used to sit and write down that day's expenses. I somehow imbibed that habit, and I am following that still now. I still use a notebook and a pen, but there are a lot of apps available nowadays wherein you can actually start writing down your expenses, noting down or typing down your expenses, so that at the end of the month or once in a quarter, you can actually review your expenses and see where your money is actually going. If you don't know where you're going, you'll be lost. So it's very essential to track your expenses to see how much you're spending. I also categorize them, not only writing down the expenses, but I categorize. Now slowly I'm moving to Excel, Microsoft Excel, wherein it gets me to prepare some charts and all of that to actually review my data. By entering my expenses, I'm actually creating a lot of data points for myself. At the end of the month, I look at this and see how much I have spent towards dining, how much I have spent towards savings, how much I have spent towards clothing, how much I have spent towards repairs and maintenance, and all of that. So I have categorized and then I've recorded those expenses, and it is helping me big time to see where my money is going. And I always have a good grip of the money that comes in and the money that goes out. I strongly recommend everyone to start tracking your expenses. Write down your daily expenses so that how much you need for every month. At times of emergency, at type of critical situations, at times of job loss, at times of business loss, how much is essential for you to run a family, to run your entire family. So building an emergency fund is also dependent on your expenses, right? So how much exactly you require in times of emergency. So that tracking your expense habit is going to help you big time.
Okay, so the best one is to track, because unless you're able to look at you're measuring what you're spending, you can't have a control over it. So start tracking whatever is the way which you can, so that will give you more clarity on how much are you spending, and that will lead to the next step on how you can look at saving. So there has been another couple of questions coming in, and this is a question like, hey, I have a home loan, and can I take my PF money to close that home loan? Any thoughts on this? Should I use my PF to close this home loan outstanding?
Knowingly or unknowingly, provident fund is the only savings that every middle class is making, right? And every person who works, every salaried person is making. So there is a large corpus that we are building voluntarily or forcefully, and you also earn interest towards that. Of course, government is paying the interest a little late. This year also they have credited the interest very late, but the money is there. Unless and until something big happens and government really screws up with the policy and the operations, your money is safe. So that is one thing I think many people prefer to keep it for retirement. So I would say to repay your home loan, I will not personally recommend to take your PF money to pay your housing loan. You should look at other ways to create that money, maybe your yearly bonus, or any special awards that you get from your company, any increments that you get. All of that money should be used to repay your housing loan.
Okay. There has been one question on Prime Minister's Employment Generation Program. It's about the MSME loans. You have any specific inputs on whether it's because this person wants to know whether they say that it's a 35% is the subsidy. You have some idea about this, or because it's very specific for people who are looking at taking under this category.
Yeah, no, what is the question is all about?
The question is whether the statement which the people are saying is like it is having a 35% subsidized. So is there any unseen charges? Are there? Is it really true? This person wants to know, because I honestly don't have a clue, because it's
okay. So
related to this.
MSME, there is a lot of push being given by government to promote medium and small size enterprises. So that is where they have come up with a lot of schemes. I don't know about this particular scheme, but if a subsidy is given, then you should become eligible. There may be some eligibility criteria under which you can go ahead and apply for that and get that subsidy. So, for example, if you get 1,000 rupees loan, and then you will be getting a 35% of it as a subsidy, so that you don't need to pay. So there may be some eligibility criteria. I do not know the specifics, but MSME, but you should own a business as well, right? This is not applicable for the salaried people.
Yeah. So what I would suggest is like probably read the fine points, whatever is that in that loan. And one of the things what everyone should understand is like you must know how interest is calculated. The basic parts of how an amortization, or what exactly is the breakup of the principal payment, interest payment. If you can get to that level where you can understand, hey, this is what is my charges, and if you can understand that, then you will be very sure, hey, this is the money I'm paying. Because I have seen a lot of people, they are not sure whether what is their outstanding, how that interest is calculated, because this is something which is very important, which I'm able to see like a lot of people are unable to find exact way on how a loan is amortized over a period of time. So yes, so we have these questions.
And Ravi, I should admit one thing. Your the entire audience group is very active in the chat. I couldn't actually catch up with the speed of messages. I am sorry about it, not able to read all the messages.
No issues, because what happens is like we may not be able to answer each one of you because if there are very specific cases which is pertaining to an individual, probably you can reach out to us offline, or maybe send us a message after the program if there are any specific cases, because what I'm making is that we are taking in questions which are more of generic in nature, which are probably like related to majority of the people. So if there are very specific cases, we may not be able to answer it to the point, that point. And also like there are a lot of questions on investments. So it is like we are also making sure that we are sticking to the topic. So let's take one more question over here. So I'll just come to this one. So if someone is had a bad credit history, their credit score is coming down. It's pretty bad. Like they borrowed in the past and something has gone wrong, their credit score is impacted. In future, they might want to borrow again for a home loan or something. So what do you think this person, how can he improve on his credit score?
Sure, that's a good question. Credit score is something being determined by your transactions, by your repayments that you make to the bank. So every bank goes and reports their transactions, the record of transactions, to centralized credit rating agency that is called a CIBIL in India. So it's not only for you, right? For all of their customers, State Bank of India or HDFC Bank or any other bank for that matter, under Reserve Bank of India, they go and submit records about every customer that they have and the repayments that they have made, whether they have made it or they have not made it. So based on that, they give a rating, a scoring based on your transaction history. Because of your repayment history, you've been given a score. That is what we call as a credit score. Anywhere between 750, 800 is considered as a good score. So if you're at 300, 400, 500 range, then how do we actually increase your credit rating? So why one should increase the credit rating? Good credit scores actually gives a larger chance of a good probability of getting a loan from a bank. That is why people are concerned about credit ratings. Now, how do I increase my credit score? That's the question. You can increase your credit score by having good repayment history. So you can start now and you can build. So far, if you don't have a good history, never mind, and you can actually start now and slowly start building that credit history. So over a period of from 2 years down the line, 1 year down the line, if you look back, then you will have a good history built, and the score would have got also increased. Be financially disciplined. Make your payments regularly. Never miss any payment. Don't go for any settlements. Don't go for any loan settlements or credit card settlements, a partial settlement. Try to repay your loans on time. So that will help you to increase your credit score.
Okay. So thank you, Palaniappan, for this.
Ravi, couple of things. I see. There are some inquiries about the book. One person have asked if I may take 30 seconds. My book link can be shared, and Ravi can share the book link. Some people are asking.
Yeah, I'll be sharing that link. I'll just post it here.
Someone is asking about discounts on the books. You can reach me. If there is any bulk orders, then we can actually consider for a discount.
Okay. So this is the link, guys, for those who want to buy Palaniappan's book. This is the link. It's called Zero EMI. This is on Amazon. So you can just look at this one. I'll just share it. You can look at Amazon. I just have this one over here. So you can buy this book, and you are published in 2020, is it?
Yeah, during the lockdown, correct.
During the lockdown, you have published. So there's also Kindle version available. So Kindle version, which is also available. So you can just look at this one. So this is Palaniappan's book, which is available for you. Either the Kindle version or the paperback version.
Looks like Amazon is doing some promotion. The MRP is actually 170.
Yeah,
it's now available for 151. So that is
so there is a 11% discount which is available.
Yeah,
currently. Okay, guys. So this is about this aspect of buying this book, and what I would suggest is, like, how many of you got value from the program? I would suggest, hey, if you found something which you had an aha moment in this workshop, there's one or two key learnings from the session. What I would suggest you is that you can look at posting in this link. There's a link which you're sharing. That you can share that feedback, guys. You can share the feedback in that link. You can share the feedback. So probably like, what was your key learning or aha moment? So just type down your feedback. What was your key learning? What are the things which you really took it from this session today? So due to paucity of time, we are not able to take any other more questions. But Palaniappan, do you have any, say, like, any things on how one can be financially with discipline? Like, what are the things he can do to make sure that he's managing his money well? So you have any suggestions for us?
Ravi, yeah. Yeah, Ravi, can you come again, please?
Yeah, I was just asking, like, your final what are the parting notes, or what are the message which you want to leave with the audience? Like, what we need to really focus on to manage our money better.
Okay. First of all, it's a great participation from each one of you. I absolutely love the way you guys interacted, the way you chatted, the way you answered the poll, and the way you're posting your questions. Sorry that we are not able to take all the questions because we have limited time. But please send your questions to Ravi. Ravi, you can send it back to me so that I can answer them and send it across to you. We'll ensure that it's all being answered in the next 1 or 2 days. As parting notes, I would say there is no shortcut to earn money. If someone says that there's a shortcut to earn money, then doubt them. Don't even believe them. Okay, doubt them, and keep a distance from them. I also would recommend everyone I have told this to many of my friends. If you have not watched a Tamil movie called Saduranga Vettai, I would suggest you to watch that movie. It's a very, very good literature, I would say, that will teach you valuable life lessons. There are so many unfortunate, unlucky, underprivileged people out there in the world. So be thankful for what you have. That is very important. Don't always think that we don't have a lot of things that other possess, but think that we have a lot of things that other do not possess. So be blessed with what you have, and please avoid the online gambling games which involves money. That looks like a shortcut for money, but it takes away a lot of money from your pocket, from your wallet. So don't ever do that. And also, if you have any of your friends who are very stressed out, talk to them, spend time with them, listen to them, or give ears to them. Let's help people not to commit suicide. So let's be helpful and mindful about that as well. That's pretty much I wanted to say.
Thank you so much, Palaniappan. So there is also like a suggestion, like people are asking whether you have an audio book. So probably you could also consider that, because audio is also getting very popular these days. How many of you enjoyed the last 1 hour interaction, guys? Type V in the chat box. If you got value in the last 1 hour with Palaniappan, type V for value, guys. Hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. So we had shared the link for his book also. So do encourage authors, like because very few people are there who are relying on financial literacy, and make it a point to look at this one. So how many of you enjoyed this session, guys? So yesterday we had one session on the mindset part, on the money mindset by Milind Jadhav. Today we have practical session on the EMI planning, on how do you make yourself zero EMI in 2023. How many of you want to learn more? You want to continue this journey? Type C if you want to continue the journey, guys. So what is the name of the movie? The name of the movie was Saduranga Vettai. That is the name of the movie. You can, it's a Tamil movie where you can just Google up. You'll find it on YouTube also. So it's a movie which
you can watch it with subtitles. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. So you can, it's a movie where it tells you a story of how money or greed drives an individual, and how many ways people get emotionally making decisions. So it's a good movie. So we'll just share that movie link also, in case that is something which you want to look at, learning more. Okay, guys. So what we also do is, like, we are having one workshop coming up in the month of January 1st week, guys. I'm doing a 3-day workshop. So it's a 3-day workshop on money management and investing. I'm looking at the basics of personal finance. So what I'm wanting to do is, like, in case some of you would like to sign up, some of you have already done my program, but some of you are here coming for the first time. So this is something which we are giving a very special offer, like as a token of gratitude. Hey, you being here live. So this is one offer which you can do it. So this is an offer which we are giving at just 99 rupees, guys, just 99. What you need to do is that this is the link which you can look at making a payment, and this is the discount code is also here. So in case you want to join this program, use the discount code as crazy, because there's a crazy offer which we are giving. 2,999 is our full price, but we are giving this discount code here, so you can look at taking up this special offer. So anyone interested, you can look at this. I'll just share with you how you can sign up for this program. I will share the dates. It's on the first weekend, guys. It's on 6, 7, 8. So some of you are looking at, hey, I want to look at taking a resolution to manage money well. So this is something which you can look at. So you can just make up, come to this one, and you will be able to get this. This is the discount code. I'm just sharing it here. So you can type down your name and price you are seeing here. You can give CRAZY. If you give that discount code, you will get a very special price for at 199. So this is the link where you can do signing up for this session. In case you're interested, you're considering, hey, I want to make a new start in this new year. So just make sure that you sign up for that to avail that offer. So Palaniappan, can we have, like, in case someone has any specific questions, can we compile it? Like, we can make sure that, can we post it to you so that you can give your perspective? Like, if there are any specific questions, because guys, we have to look at this forum. It is like just 1 hour we are spending with the speaker, and sometimes we don't have any data points. Like, I do not know who are your dependents, like what exactly is your situation. So just by putting a Q&A, we will not be able to understand your complete picture. So what happens is, like, it is better, like maybe the speaker also gets to understand your situation to give a specific input in case your situation is working. So I will make that arrangement where if you have any specific questions, I will share maybe a Q&A form where you can post a question in that form, and we can see if we can take up any specific questions. We can see how we can answer it. So that should be fine, guys. So thank you all for being here on a Sunday evening. I know that on Sunday evening, you made a choice to be here watching this live. So we had more than 200 participants who are there, and thank you each one of you. And I take this opportunity to thank the speaker Ra Ma Palaniappan for looking at giving us extraordinary value in terms of how one can look at managing your EMI so that we all can be on the path towards leading a debt-free life. So wishing you all a happy and a great new year ahead, guys. 2023 is just 2 weeks away. So make sure that you start to look at getting that confidence to manage that money well, so that 2023 will be an amazing year. So thank you so much, guys. Any final words, Palaniappan, you want to leave to the audience? Like, thank you for your participation on a Sunday. We actually planned this last week, but there was a big cyclone in Chennai, and we had to postpone it because a lot of people were without power, and we decided, hey, let's have it this week. But yes, this is coming closer to the new year. I hope this is a great session for everyone to begin the coming new year.
Thank you so much, Ravi, for having me here. I had a good time interacting with your clients, and it's a nice session. I thoroughly enjoyed talking, and it kindled a lot of my past memories, and then I walked through the memory lane. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so much, guys. I look forward to see you very soon in another occasion. Until then, stay safe, keep smiling, and happy investing, folks. Bye bye for now. Thank you, Parani.